Junkie going pretty boy. Junkie going pretty boy. Junkie going pretty boy.
Hello, hello.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you guys doing?
Recording in progress.
Let me just
All
let some
good.
people in. One sec. Awesome. Well, how many people do we have so far that it's their first time on one of these calls?
What's going on, my man?
What's up, Adam? Let me just. Cool. Awesome. So, yeah, how many first timers we got? 1, 2, 3.
I'm the
Welcome,
Virgin
welcome.
here.
Awesome. Well, just so you guys know, pretty much just an open Q&A call, open support call for anyone that needs help in their remote sales career. So whether it's just questions about landing roles, interviews, sales help, sometimes we do call reviews, intro video, scripting, that kind of stuff. We kind of just give the hour to jump in and support in any way I can. So feel free, jump in, ask some questions, put your hand up, however it is we want to go about it. Is there anything that you guys wanted help with, anything you guys want to cover?
Yeah. I can go first if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I bought the premium a couple of weeks ago. I applied for like almost 29 job applications. I
Mm-hmm.
just and I haven't there's no kind of progress, no rejection, no nothing. So I just want to see if my profile is good or if it's bad or if I should do something.
Yeah,
Kind of need
share it
some
in the
guidance on
chat.
that.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. We can
Sure.
go through it, see how it looks. While he's pulling that up, do you have any other questions? Just letting some more
I
people
put it in
in
the chat.
here. Sweet. We'll go ahead and we'll pull that up then and take a look. I'm going to share screen. You guys let me know once you've seen the screen. And which jobs have you mainly been focused on applying to? Has it been mainly submitting external applications, or have you submit your profile to a good bulk of them?
Yeah, did for a bunch of fitness ones, closing and setting, and then yeah, just nothing kind of progressed forward.
Cool. Let's take a look. So we've got the about section filled out. 45 track close rate. Looks solid so far there. We'll take a look at the intro video last. Main thing I'm seeing with it though, it looks like it's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Typically a lot of people will skip over an intro video that looks that long, but we'll actually see what's being said in there. You want to keep those to about a minute though. They get a lot more views if they're shorter.
Okay.
Let's see. So you got some fitness business experience, which is good. 120 appointments per month. Looks like. Let's see here. Handle qualification, booking reminders. So this is all about kind of what you did here. I would want to include more of the results of what you did, because obviously if you were a setter closer, most businesses will know what you actually handled in terms of they'll know that you booked, they'll know that you did follow up, they'll know that you did all of these things. So I would keep this focus more on achievements that you actually got at that company. You know, you put here obviously that you did 400,000 in revenue. You have here that you booked 100 to 120 appointments per month. Those parts are good. If there's anything you can talk about in terms of, for example, your show rate, close rate on this specific offer, any other metrics and stuff like that would really be helpful. And I would say the same for any of these job opportunities. You want to keep them as achievement based as possible, rather than just saying like, this is what I was responsible for, because most businesses will understand that. We've got a lot of sales mentorships here, which is good as well. Let's take a look at the intro video.
Hello, my name is Adam, and the next 60 to 90 seconds I'm going to quickly and clearly explain why I'm a strong fit for a high-ticket closer role. The direct answer is I already have real setter and closing experience for 2 years. I take extreme ownership over my results, and I'm focused on actually helping the business generate more revenue. For example, I've closed offers with an average ticket size of 5K, my highest ticket sold was 10K, and I have a tracked close rate of 45%. And what this means for you is that you're not bringing in someone who is brand new to a sales environment. You're bringing in someone who's already had and handled real high ticket sales calls and understands how to turn these conversations into actual revenue. I also have seller experience where I booked around 100 to 120 appointments per month. If you do the math, that's around 3 to 5 booked calls 6 days a week. And what that means for you is that I understand the full sales process from the first point of contact to closing the deal. And not just the call itself, but the lead equality, the follow ups, the show rate, and how each part individually affects the revenue. And the biggest thing about me is I take extreme ownership. I don't blame the lead flow, the scripts, the managers, the circumstances. If something is not working in my sales process, I fix it. I track my numbers. I build my own systems. I create my own SOPs and find ways to become more efficient so that I'm proactive rather than reactive. And the same ownership actually shows in my personal life. I went from a 280 pounds melted lasagna to 210 pounds. I've recovered from a lower back injury where I could really walk to becoming a healthy and fully capable again. And what that means for you is that when things get hard, I don't fold. I solve the problem, I get back up, and I keep moving. So, all that to say, I believe I'm a strong fit because of my experience. I take extreme ownership, I'm very coachable, and I value loyalty. I'm not here to jump offers when things get difficult. I'm here to improve every week and actually make the offer work and help the business generate more revenue. My name is Adam, and I'll be happy to send you my call recordings to prove my skill set. Take care of yourself.
Cool. Overall, it's a solid video. All right. Um, Nothing that I would say in the video was bad that would need to be removed. It's you telling your story. You're talking about obviously your experience and what you've done. When it comes to the applications that you're sending out, are you just sending applications, or are you also reaching out to them with your experience or with why you'd be a good fit for the offer? Because I've seen you get a lot more responses if you also connect with the person via DM or via email, because there's a lot of people applying, especially for some of the more competitive roles, especially for a role like fitness. Like, everyone wants to work with a fitness company because it's just such a popular niche, especially. Have you reached out directly to any companies, or is your main thing just kind of applying and waiting?
It's been a mix of applying and waiting, and also like reaching out to them like personally. But from I think only two people have seen it. Like on the Bloom, I can only see like two people have seen it. So
Yeah, I
and
would
then no further
focus
communication.
I would focus heavily on reaching out directly if it's some of the bigger companies with the higher OTs, especially because they have a lot more competition on those ones for fitness. Fitness is probably like the number one niche that people are trying to work for. So that's what I would do. I would take your hold on. I would take your profile and I would submit it through DMs on like LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever that sales manager is active. Or if they've got their email listed there, I would shoot them an email. That would probably be the fastest way to get in touch with them after you've submitted your application. And then make it clear that you have experience in their niche. So when you do reach out, I'm not sure how you reach out right now, but make sure that you're including like reasons why you're a good fit, that you've sold in their niche, that you've done this before. A lot of people, what they do is, I don't know if you do, but a lot of people, they just say like, hey, I saw your job. Hey, I'm trying to, apply. But one of the messages I've seen work the best would be like, hey, Adam, saw you had a job post hiring a closer for XYZ. I think I'd be a great fit because this reason, this reason, this reason. You can do 2, you can do 3 bullet points, short and sweet. Then you can say, hey, if you're interested, here's a little bit more about me. And then you could either send your RepSelect profile or anywhere else. Anything else that you have like listed there, a good intro video. And then usually following up once or twice after that reach out, we'll get a good response there, because I've even seen some managers be like, I won't respond to someone unless they follow up at least once or twice, because I want them to do that with leads. So if they won't do that with the interview process, then I usually won't give that person a look in the DMs. And yeah, that's kind of what I would mainly do with this, because you've got a pretty solid profile, but it sounds like you're applying in a really, really competitive niche there, which is fitness, because everyone's like, oh, I go to the gym, I'll apply for fitness, because they don't have much expertise in like marketing or some of the other niches out there for sales. So that's what I would do there.
Mhm. Yeah, man. Thanks.
No problem. Any other questions we have? Anything else you want to go over? Lisa, I saw you typed some question. You said, what does the qualification verification process look like for a business owner looking to hire sales reps? Biggest thing with verification is we're looking to make sure that they've got a bit of a process going. So we're looking at, it depends, because we don't want to be too strict in terms of not allowing businesses that are looking for beginner reps, because there's businesses that we will be looking for reps that are brand new because they're kind of just starting off with their process. They have more of a cold calling process going, which is okay, because there are some reps that don't really have the track record to land a role with some of the bigger companies. So we do allow some of the smaller companies that do cold calling on. So if they've got a system going, at least where they're generating some kind of leads, whether it's lead scraping for someone to cold call, that's fine. And then there's obviously looking at the biggest companies with testimonials, case studies, a track record of being there for years. That's what we're approving on the platform. The main thing that we're looking for is if they have any history online of them being scams, MLMs, fake websites, fake job posts, bait and switches. We're kind of just doing a search on them to make sure that they're legitimate as possible, because the main thing with RepSelect is we want to save people time so that they can apply to roles with us doing at least as much of the due diligence as we can without having to actually be a member of the company and looking through their financial records and all of these things. So we're doing that surface level search, and we're looking at the numbers that they spout. So for example, if a business owner submits a job, they might say, we're asking them like, what's the deal size? What's the close rate? What's the current revenue generated at the company? What's the OTE? And if those numbers all don't line up, we decline their post as well, because obviously we need to see legit numbers there. So we're looking to make sure that they have a legit online presence, website history is there, no weird stuff going on with their website registry, registered business, all of that stuff. There's a bunch of checks that we kind of do to make sure that they're as legit as possible, but obviously it wouldn't be perfect in terms of, okay, the best thing you could possibly do is actually look at their financials. The next step we're actually adding soon is we're going to have companies attach their Stripe to their accounts too, so they can verify their monthly revenue, which is kind of like the next thing we're adding to RepSelect. So then we'll have like a separate category for revenue verified businesses as well. So yeah, we're doing everything we can to ensure we're getting the best companies going. Second question you put there was, how many apply for one job? It depends on the job. So if it's like 6 to 10K, you might have like 50 to 100 apply to that one. Anything 10K plus, you'll get a good amount of competition there, but it really just depends on the OTE of the company, I would say. And then in terms of flexibility with business owners, in terms of listings that are full-time, full-time, part-time, that's when it comes to like remote sales, it's really a weird kind of genre, because everything is kind of negotiated in remote sales. Nothing is 100% full-time, because unless it's a base pay type role. So even though roles are listed as full-time, that's usually full-time or part-time based on the lead flow that the company has. So for example, part-time roles usually aren't part-time because the company doesn't want someone full-time. It's usually part-time because they only have enough lead flow to have someone part-time on the role, right? So if it's listed as full-time, it's usually full-time because it's a bigger company that has enough leads, or they are paying some kind of base to accommodate someone full-time. One that's part-time is usually part-time because they're like, hey, we're kind of just getting started, or we are looking for someone to take calls during these specific hours. It really just depends. So I wouldn't put too much weight on the part-time full-time thing, because I've seen teams, and I've even ran teams where we had lots of full-time reps, but we also took on someone part-time because we needed someone to take on specific hours. So that's what I would say to that one. And then, yeah, what other questions do we have? Everyone's typing questions. We can say the questions, that way I'm not just reading the whole time. Yeah, do we have any other questions here? I can read off the rest of these here, but if anyone else here has any they want to ask, feel free. Nothing else? Lily, did you have a question?
Hi. So it's been a while since I've been doing RepSelect stuff on my own, but like I haven't been on one of these calls in a while. So I just finally made my stupid video and I posted it, and I guess I was wondering if it was good or if it looks like I've had too many energy drinks.
Well, if you're a high energy person, that's totally okay, you know?
I have not had any energy drinks, but I was just exceptionally happy when I made it, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, if we can watch your video, if you've got a link to it.
I mean, it's on my profile. Does that count?
Yeah, if you share a link to your profile, we can definitely watch it.
Okay, let me see if I can.
And then while you're pulling up here, we'll look at some of the other questions. We had one that says,
Sure.
Let me see what else we got here. How do we identify their pain points? Are we talking about like on a sales call? If you can expand on that question a little bit, if we're talking like, are we asking like on a closing call or setting call? What are we asking there when it comes to identify pain points? Yeah, let me know what you mean by that, and I can go in a little bit more depth. You also put here, what of the beginner that acquired skills? How do we write on the employment experience about selection? Like, are you saying if you don't have skills? Yeah, let me know if you want to expand on that question. Are you saying if you're a beginner that doesn't have any skills? I'm not too sure what you mean there. Ishmael, you said, how can we work on our personal psychology to better our skills and up our close rate? Are you still on the call? Oh yeah, you are. So when it comes to improving your close rate, hello.
Hello, I'm talking about a beginner that just acquired skills.
Yeah,
Yes,
like are you
that just
saying what to put in
acquired
your
skills
employment history?
without employment experience.
Well,
So what
the
can I
employment
put in that?
section, you would just put whatever employment you do have, right? Like you're not gonna lie or put like anything fake, or so you would just put whatever jobs you've had in your life. It's just like any other resume. You'd put your employment history.
Okay, and what niche will you advise a starter to start with that is
Yeah.
not that competitive, that she can have a chance or he can have a chance to be employed as a beginner?
The biggest thing you want to do is go into a niche that you understand, because at the end of the day, you're going to be speaking to prospects that have a problem, and you're going to need to be able to understand when they break down that problem. For example, if I'm talking to a business owner who says, hey, I'm struggling with marketing and I don't know anything about marketing, it's going to be really hard to have that conversation in a way that causes that person to see me as an advisor or expert that can help point them in the right direction. So whatever, use your background, use your history to kind of like be like, okay, well, what do I understand? What do I know of? Right? What have I done in my past that I can speak to this level of, like, speak to these types of prospects about this thing? You know, you'll see like former accountants trying to get into sales would do really well jumping on like a coaching program or like some kind of finance offer. I've seen real estate agents jump into just real estate training programs, like, because you understand how to talk real estate, you understand how to talk finance. So whatever your interests, wherever those your interests lie, wherever your history lies with your work experience, that would be the best niche to get in, not only because you understand how to have those conversations, but it's easier to get the job with a business owner because you can tell that business owner, hey, not only do I have sales skills, I also understand X, Y, and Z about this niche, right? Because business owners are not just looking for sales reps with like training or, you know, previous history in sales. They also need to know that you understand their niche, right? Because if I closed on a fitness offer for 5-10 years, had a great track record, high close rate, tons of cash collected, and then transitioned to some kind of B2B offer, it doesn't mean it's just going to translate perfectly, right? So I would probably lose out on that opportunity over someone with less experience but more industry specific experience. So whatever jobs you've had in the past, whatever industries those were in, there's usually some type of setting or closing in a similar niche to that. So I would go to that first, and then I would really, if I had no sales experience, I would really press on the fact that I have a good understanding of this industry and lean more on that than your sales history, because there is no sales history. That's what I would do there.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. And then I'll answer your question, Ishmael, and then we'll look at that intro video. If Lily's still here, I'm not sure if she is, but you were saying like what, let me scroll back up. Yeah, how can we work on our personal psychology to better our skills and up our close rate? So the biggest thing you want to do is study communication in different industries that are really good. Negotiation. Obviously, there's a lot of therapy writings and stuff that are really going to help. But the biggest thing you want to understand is how to have conversations in a way that come across genuine and build trust with people. Those are the biggest, I guess, psychological things you want to study, is motivation, is trust, is how to come across clear, concise, and storytelling. The art, the skill of good storytelling is huge. If you look at just all of human history, it's like we focus a lot on storytelling to pass down knowledge, storytelling. I mean, every single religion is a story of some kind, right? People believe, people follow stories. People like stories. People are attached to stories. Every movie, every TV show, it's all telling a story. So if you are really good at storytelling, it's going to help for sure. If you're really good at probing, find information that helps you listen well and learn how to probe for information, because 99%, oh, that's a random made up statistic, but a big percentage of the conversation, especially as a closer, is going to come down to your ability to ask great questions that probe deep, not wide. A lot of sales reps, they struggle because they have this list of questions and they ask a lot of questions about different things, right? Instead of digging deep into one or two things that really matter, right? If I'm speaking to a business owner, again, I use the marketing example because it's the one I'm so familiar with, but I'm speaking to a business owner trying to help them with their marketing. A beginner sales rep might be like, well, how long have you been in business? What do you do for your marketing right now? What are you priced at? All of these things that are just getting surface level information about everything. But what I want to do is hone in on what the problem is and then figure out everything about that one thing and learn how to probe really deep. And if you can do that, you'll be really, really good at closing deals and uncovering pain and uncovering goals and building a lot of trust, because a lot of prospects are going to rate your level of authority on the call by how good your questioning is. If you look at the difference between expert hostage negotiators, great lawyers, it all comes down, doctors, it all comes down to how good are the questions that they ask, if that makes sense. Let me take a look at Lily's video and then we'll get to the other hands, and then if there is no other questions, we'll get to the other stuff in the chat. Let me just share screen here for a second. Hold on. Zoom. All right.
Hi, my name is Lily. I'm a United States-based closer in the Eastern Time Zone. I'm certified in consultative selling for coaching, consulting, and online education companies that generate inbound opportunities through sales funnels. I'm also part of a network that keeps our closers up to date on the latest, most advantageous trends involving the industry that would be of great benefit to whatever company I join. I lean heavily into Jeremy Miner's NAPQ techniques and utilize a mixture of gap selling and doctor's framework, but I'm open to adjustment and modification if that helps your company best. I currently have full-time availability and I'm looking forward to learning more about your offer, your team, and the clients you serve. Thank you for your time.
So I would say there's nothing wrong. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with what you said. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with like the smiley, energetic energy side of it. The main thing I'm getting here is you're coming across just a little too stiff. Like someone's got you at gunpoint. It's like a mix between stiffness, but on the verge of laughing, you know? The main thing I would want to see you is just keep the same energy. You can be happy, smiley, energy, bubbly. That's just you. That's your personality, and that's totally fine. But just relax. Just calm down. And I think that's because, and we've talked about this before, I think part of that is stemming from you're putting so much weight and pressure on getting the intro video right. And I think you just need to relax and just record it a bunch of times. And
I have been.
Just keep like focus on how you would speak to a friend, how you would just be, if your friend said, hey, why'd you get into this sales thing? What are you good at? and just be like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Like, you know, that comfortability that you would have when you're just speaking to someone else, instead of, you know, feeling like it's coming across like you're trying to make like a corporate video. You know what I mean?
Well, the reason why I think that is because I have a degree of interest in luxury selling.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why I'm going for the corporate look. And like I have my sights set on that. So I think that's why I'm trying to tailor it to that.
Don't try to tailor it to that. Because sales, you've got to learn to be genuine and natural. Business owners, the whole reason they ask for an intro video is to see if you can sell yourself and communicate in a natural way. You know?
What do you mean by stiff?
Well, again,
like talking too fast? Is it my tonality?
It's a little bit of everything. Body language, tonality. It's hard to fully explain, but if I were to be super robotic about it, I would say probably talking a little bit fast, speaking, I guess your body language is just perfectly still the whole time. And yeah, I would be
for posture.
Again,
I know that posture is important.
Don't force your posture any more than you would. Again, you know what I mean? It's like you sit up straight, but don't force it to where it's like I'm stiff now and I'm straight up. And I would, you know what I mean? Like you're forcing it. Like you can lean back a bit. You can talk. Be like, use your hands a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Just
the other thing
relax.
is that I was reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. If you're reading, that's a lot of it's going to stem from that. You know, when you read stuff, that just happens. Again, you have to memorize it. And that's why I say it over and over and over again, so that it becomes more natural, which happens when you memorize stuff. That was
probably like my 40th cut.
Yeah. Have you tried doing it without reading?
What?
Have you tried doing it without reading?
Not yet, but I'm getting more in the flow of it. But that was like my 40th take, I think.
Yeah, I would cut the teleprompter. I would cut the teleprompter. Because the thing with, and this is what I found, when it comes to like memorizing scripts or something for sales, you know, when it comes to memory in general, our brains don't actually start memorizing stuff until we force it to have to.
Yeah.
You know? So like, this is why people use like index cards and then they try to guess it without looking and then they look. Because reading it over and over again isn't going to help you memorize that well. It'll help, but it's going to be a lot slower than if you start to try to remember, your brain goes, oh, we have to store this information because it's not going to be there. And then you're actually going to start to memorize it, and then you can record it without the teleprompter.
I did write it down, and I was trying to place it somewhere, but then I noticed my eyes were off focus. So that's why I was like, I have to use a teleprompter because my eyes were messed up in the video, and I was like, they're not going to buy that if my eyes are all like going sideways like that. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, part of why you also want to be able to do it without like having to read is because it's only a minute, and if you can't pitch yourself for a minute without a script, how are you going to do that with a product or service? You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna have to ditch the script when you get into a sales role anyway. So this is good practice. You know, it's like you're just pitching yourself for a minute. Even the way you're talking to me right now is way more comfortable than you look in that video. You know what I mean?
I do feel like the video, because I'm reading, it doesn't really represent how I normally talk. Yeah. But like, yeah, I did a lot of takes. So would you say I should take it down and redo it?
You can leave it. You can leave it. The biggest thing with the intro video, and this goes for everyone, is like, don't wait until you've got a perfect one. Just keep updating it with a better one. You know what I mean? Like over time, just record better ones and swap it out as you get better, you know? Because even when you have a better one, you could probably do an even better one later. Like, or when you land your first role, you get a little bit of experience. You're going to be like, you're going to have something else to add now. You know what I mean? So you're just constantly updating it. Don't think you've got to like wait until you got this perfect one. Does that make sense?
Okay. That's what I've been doing. I didn't post one for the longest time. I recently updated my entire profile and just, it's so much better, I think now. But like, I finally got the video up, and that's why it was, is because I was trying to get it like perfect, and I was really frustrated. And yeah. So
And
today I was just like, oh, you need to focus.
the only other thing I would say as well is record it landscape. Don't record it portrait. Business owners, they want to see how you would look on a sales call. Like that's what they're looking for with the intro video as well. Is like how will this person show up to a sales call? So I would, make it landscape. That way you would show how you'd show up on Zoom to a sales call. So even if you're recording it,
I mean,
off
this
your
is my
iPhone,
background. So.
that's fine. The background's fine, but time and time again, they just don't like the portrait stuff. So I would just turn it sideways.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
We're gonna get to Michelle's question. I do want to answer the one Cola put in the chat earlier. He said, what do you advise for those currently in a full-time 9-to-5 job who want to transition to remote sales? And when they get an offer, how best do you advise them to exit their 9-to-5 and become full-time in remote sales? So I actually have a video on this, like transition strategies, but I'll say it depends on your I guess confidence in your skill set and in combination with the type of offer you land. If it's for the first time, I would try to see if there's an offer that you could do on the, and it also just depends on your financial situation. So there's no one way to transition in. I would say anyone that's transitioning especially for the first time, you want like a 60 to 90 day runway of cash, because things happen with offers. Maybe the offer wasn't what you thought it was, or sometimes it takes, every job takes like a month before you actually get paid and certain things, right? You don't know. And even if it's a great offer, if it's your first time, you don't know if you're actually going to perform, and what that commission will look like based off of how you actually perform on that offer. So I would say, depending on your job, see if you could do some work part-time on the side, build up to a full-time role, build up to a full calendar. If you're a closer on an offer, most offers, they're not going to give you a full calendar day one. They're probably going to give you some training. Then they're going to give you, 2 or 3 calls to test you out. Then they're going to continue to like give you more calls as you close more. And then you're going to be full-time. And by then you'll know like, okay, I'm doing pretty good. This is the commission. This is what it looks like. And then you can kind of, look at exiting your work. And again, it really depends on what type of work you do, but I would always lean on the side of caution when it comes to transitioning. So like the 90-day runway is usually a good marker. If you're getting, like for me, for example, like if you have experience in the industry, okay, if I get on a good offer, I can close deals, I'll be fine. You could be a little bit more risky with it. But if it's like your first ever role, let's just be real, you don't even know if you really want to do this, So before you quit, if you've never been a closer before, if you've never been an appointment setter before, you really won't know if you'll enjoy the job until you do it. Like there's obviously what you hear, what you're marketed to as like, hey, take calls, do this, dial, set, which some people get into it and they love it. And they're like, you know what? I love this industry. And then some people will be like, you know what? I actually don't like it that much. So I would, take on, I would say if you're working a 9-to-5, don't be too picky with the job selection. Get a job that does like generates some leads for you, does some cold calling. Get a job where it's a smaller company that has a low amount of leads. See if you actually like the work. See if you enjoy doing sales. And then you can transition, or then you can look for a bigger company to work with or something like that. But don't, try to get on the biggest company you could find, quit your job, go all in. And then if, it's not just about skills, just about, do you enjoy the level? Do you enjoy the work? Do you enjoy dialing all day as a setter? Do you enjoy taking calls, having these deep conversations with people as a closer, having the pressure of having to close deals? Do you enjoy that? How do you handle that? You know what I mean? Figure that out first, then go from there. That's what I'd say anyone that's especially coming into the industry for the first time, working their 9-to-5 job. And then realize that this is also a full-time job, right? It's not like that's 9-to-5, this is not. There is pros of the remote, little like more schedule control freedom, but you're still going to want to work your 7 to 8 hours a day, just like any other job. So yeah, that's what I would consider there. Michelle, did you have a question still?
Yes, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Finally, nice weather in Toronto, so we're happy.
Yes, I
So
am.
I just want to ask you, so I got a setting offer which I'm pretty happy about. Like it's in the healthcare niche, so it's a clinic. I don't want to give too many details because I got it through an agency, recruitment agency that is very popular. So
Yep.
just in case, but I'm very happy with it. I'm very grateful. It has a very good base. Lead flow pretty slow, 2 to 3 leads per day, which it makes sense because we are just started targeting people from small neighborhood, so it's not gonna be like 100 leads per day.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I'm having a lot of free time during the day. I feel like I can finish everything in like 4 or 5 hours, to be very honest with you. So I was thinking, like, I don't really want to quit it, to be honest. I don't want to be jumping from offer to offer because, as I mentioned, I'm looking for stability right now. So, how realistic would be to maybe get a part time closing position? I've done some closing before, very little. So, my experience comes primarily from SDR jobs, but I want to have also that extra income too, right? Because I don't think I'm gonna be able to make 7, 8K. I might be wrong. It doesn't really look like this is gonna be the case. But what would you suggest to do in this situation that I do have at least 3 hours extra per day, and in the weekend too?
Yeah, in remote sales, there's not really caps, so it all comes down to what you want to measure ROI for time, right?
Yeah.
So the question is there some, there always is, but is there some kind of acquisition channel with this company that is, I always like to try to find like an unlimited source. So if
Mm-hmm.
the company is generating tons of leads every day, I would call that
Yeah.
an unlimited source because you couldn't like you couldn't dial them all in a day. You know what I mean? Another would
Yeah.
be, okay, am I willing to do some kind of cold outreach, whether it's like outreach on LinkedIn or they generate lists for me and I dial those lists in conjunction with the leads they give me, and it's kind of like half warm, half cold. If
Mm-hmm.
that provides a good ROI, maybe the extra 3 hours is better spent there. Or
Mm-hmm.
is the ROI, or is there a higher ROI in finding a company that, wants to give me like 2 or 3 calls a day, right?
Yeah.
It's usually better to work with one company because then you have that compound effect of just like getting better. But there are a
Yes.
lot of people that split their time across multiple companies, and that's totally fine too, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to working as a closer part-time for other companies, typically you're either one working with a smaller company who, like I said, it's part-time by nature of the fact that they can only generate so many calls, or two, it's part-time because you have a unique ability to take calls within a window that maybe the other team isn't willing to take calls. So for example, I hired a part-time person for one of my teams at one point to just take the 7 p.m. to like 9 p.m. calls in the evening
Yeah.
because a lot of prospects were just available then, and none of the closers wanted to work, understandably at 7, 8, 9 because they work like 10 to 6. Some of them 9 to 5. They had their calendars open for calls, and no one wants to push that later and later and later, right? So we
Yes.
had someone in a different area of the world where that was like midday for them, so they were happy to take those 2 or 3 extra calls every day, and they were just like the only part-time closer on the team. So you're gonna usually find one of those. It's either a smaller company that only has a couple, or and both can be good. Both can be really good. So yeah, I mean, I would look at the company you have now, and you said they're generating 2 leads a day. Where are those leads coming from? Is it like paid advertising? Is it like list building? Where are they getting it from?
Yeah, paid advertising, yeah, Facebook and Google. The thing is, there's no closers here because they go to the clinic in person. So I'm
Okay.
kind of like a virtual assistant plus SDR. I just take few calls and then I do follow-ups with people that didn't show up
Mm-hmm.
to the appointments and stuff. So it's more like an admin SDR job, which I
Mm-hmm.
like, but when it comes to like commission, doesn't look like it's gonna be, there's a lot of room for commissions.
And have you had a conversation with them about scale? Because when it comes to buying leads, they're either profitable or they're not. And if they're profitable, usually the company wants to spend more to make more. If
Yeah.
they're, but then again, if it's like appointment based, maybe they just have so many appointments that they don't have the scale. That's the thing. You want to figure out, does the company have the scale to support more, If yes, are they able to increase ads to get more? If yes, then cool, let's do it. If they are profitable on ads, but they don't have the appointments, like they just don't have the bandwidth to take on more appointments, then it's either they're going to hire more people to do more appointments, or they're just happy with the scale that they're at. That's when it's like, okay, well, let's look into, part-time closing somewhere else. I'll keep the base here, do the work here in, half the day and close somewhere else, which is totally fine as well. So have you had that conversation with either sales management or just whoever's responsible for that?
Yeah. So they said, so Google is working good, but again, because it's a clinic in a specific area in Florida, it's not that they can reach a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's just like very few people in the area that they are experiencing XYZ type amount of pain. So it's like a very like specific. Facebook ads, I know, is not working very well. There's a lot of non-shows, a lot of people like ghosting. I know they're trying to figure out organic marketing, but again, like organic takes
Are
time.
people in their Facebook, are people just booking directly, or are they submitting phone numbers, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so they do an application and I call them and I book them in for a
Okay.
consultation.
And you're getting 2 across both Facebook and Google, or?
Yes.
Okay, so
2,
both of
3
them.
a day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so both of them are coming out to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they're, the question just is if they're looking to scale it, yes, cool. You do more. If they're not looking to scale it, then yeah, I would just grab something part-time on the side.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you. I appreciate your help.
No problem. Nabil, what's up, man?
Hi, I've just joined RepSelect a few days ago. I just had a quick question after filling out my profile. So I was working under net revenue as an SDR, so they just placed me on an offer straight away. And I've realized while doing it that I'll be honest with you, it's not the thing that I enjoy doing the most, because when I first invested into myself to learn high ticket sales and like the skill in general, it was to become a closer. And so obviously I filled out my profile and everything. So I just wanted to hear it from you. Do you think it's worth applying for closer roles, even though like this is like my first proper role, or do you think I should first get the experience as an SDR and then transition into potentially a closing role? Because the community that I'm part of, like I've known people that have just jumped straight to being a closer, so they'll just skip the whole appointment setting part. So
That's what I
yeah, I
did
just
too.
need some.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
definitely they're just different roles. Like go for what
yeah,
you like. It is easier to get a setting role, be
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
It's
for sure.
easier to just get a setting role because usually it takes less experience and skill to be a setter.
Yeah, yeah,
But that doesn't mean you can't, like, it's not a prerequisite. It's not like we need to see 2 years setting experience before allowing you to be
yeah,
closed.
yeah,
Businesses just want good closers. So if you can prove you're a good closer, then they'll hire you, you know?
yeah.
So you could definitely just go straight for a closer role. What kind of offer were you an SDR for? Or is this your first one that you're jumping into?
Yeah, no, so I was setting appointments for a real estate offer. So like just helping people get their first property and stuff. And the offer's decent. It's not even that like I don't enjoy doing sales. It's just like the whole appointment setting. Like I feel like I've got a bit more to offer than just that. So I don't want to like really
Have you
limit
talked to
my
that
skill set.
company? Have you talked to that company about closing for them?
Yeah, and yeah, for sure. And they've got a clear roadmap. Obviously, like after 6 months, if you actually do prove yourself as an SDR, then they'll promote you to a closing role. But the truth is, I don't even want to wait for like that long, especially because first of all, I don't enjoy it, and there's people that I know who have started like high ticket sales around the same time as me, who've just jumped on a closing role straight away. So I'm just kind of in the middle of the two. Like, what should I do basically?
Yeah, I would follow the roadmap while applying for closing roles. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you're going to develop your
Sweet, yeah.
skills and build your track record. Following the roadmap, setting more is going to just get you better at sales in general.
Yeah.
And then you can use the experience of setting for a real estate offer to also, again, like apply for real estate closing roles as well.
Yeah.
But you don't have to only go for that. But yeah, I would just do both. you know,
Okay.
and whichever comes first. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
if it takes you 6 months to land the closing role, and then maybe
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
become a closer there, you know. But
Sure,
yeah,
yeah.
I would definitely not just wait if that's not what you want to be doing.
So, as far as like my profile goes, because obviously it's more focused on setting appointments, do you think if I do apply for closing roles, then it's still gonna catch like business owners' attention, or are they just gonna look at you and be like, "Nah, he's just been an appointment setter. We're not gonna hire him for no closing role."
No, you can. It should be fine. I mean, every business owner has their own ideology, but
Yeah,
again, if you set your profile to your interest being for closing,
yeah,
you have good role plays, call examples of you closing. You make it clear in your intro video that
yeah,
you're a good closer. I wouldn't say avoid anything that's like I'm gonna become, like making you sound super brand new and green. You have to talk about what you already are. Businesses want to hire
okay,
what someone already is and the value that person can bring to the company. So
okay,
you want to talk about yourself as if you were already a closer, and that would be huge.
okay, okay, sweet. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
Cool. And just before we answer your question, Dennis, the one Michelle put in the chat super quick, you just talked about the new feature in RepSelect. Yeah, so we dropped the new feature, auto apply. Essentially, based off of the career preferences you set up when you set up your account, there are different jobs. So there's jobs on RepSelect that you just submit your profile, and then there's jobs that have you like fill out questionnaires or bring you to external link, all that, just like any other job site. There's like the LinkedIn Fast Apply or all that stuff. The ones that are quick apply, the ones that you don't have to like fill out a form, that just submit your profile. If you have auto apply on your profile switched on, it will auto apply for jobs based on the niche and the role that you're looking for. So if you set your role to like closer jobs in fitness and you have auto apply on, it'll apply to fitness closer roles on your behalf. To the goal is to obviously get you guys more interviews with less time, less effort, less work. So yeah, that's what that feature's there for. Dennis, you had a question?
Feel like Nabil actually answered a whole lot of questions that I have. It's like he was actually in my brain and he was saying most of things. But then again, my major reason for coming here is just because I wanted to, because I have never in my life gone into anything called sales or closer, or so I just wanted to, because I keep asking Gemini, and the only thing is I just get things I get to read, but I came in here because I really wanted to see real time what people are actually going through in this section of the work, and get proper understanding of how it works and all that, because I am transitioning from engineering down to administrative work, and just got my certification in virtual assistance, but I also want to like have this plethora of skills lined up, so I can actually, because I already have my own business I'm doing, but it's e-commerce. So why I'm saying this, why I wanted to make a touchdown to the sales is because I the e-commerce is solely on, because I sell kitchenwares and furnitures. So I think this is like a direct thing, and I handle more than 20, 40 customers in a day, legit, and I close this deal. So I wanted to know, like, I wanted to really know if it was actually worth it. So now that I'm hearing from other people how that I'm not the only person who's just starting out this phase, and there are lots of people who also are in this journey, though mine is worse because mine is, I have no experience in any way. I have never done anything like that. So I just wanted to come see how it is, and just I applied. I came on Rep because I was asking Gemini for all the understands the Rep Select IO, and I just saw something. I was like, okay, let me apply. Then you sent a mail that I should come on and join, and I was like, okay, let me come into the room where everybody has a like mind, and just come hear what they have to say, and buy into the idea and see how further I can push it.
Yeah, welcome, man. We've got the community as well, that you could just hop in, and if you can network with people that are, I guess, in the on roles, looking for roles, and I'm sure you can just ask questions and connect with other people and learn more about the industry. So yeah, I dropped that in the chat. Xanthi, you had a question, man?
Hi guys. Hi, Tai. I had a one-on-one call with you months ago.
Hmm.
And yeah, so just quick update after that. So what happened there is I got on a sales role before, phone setting role. And what happened is I parted ways with that offer because it didn't give me a base. And recently, my recent work was internal and client operations for a growth operator that has done over $700 million for his clients. So I got on hold on that role because they focus on their like other business, and they told me to onboard me back. So right now I'm back to square one, like hunting clients, and I was doing like more of like reflecting where do I want to take my career the next coming years, and I want to become a growth operator, Tai, wherein like get to a level where you can just plug into any business, optimize their process, businesses, and help scale ever process uh that that's needed for them. So I'm kind of like more about like the career strategy or the path that I'm gonna take. Like how do you become first like for you like what how do you become a growth operator like from scratch? Because I think you are a growth operator.
Yeah, I've definitely fulfilled that role for a couple of businesses, and I guess the best way is when it comes to getting into that role, you can like there's obviously the typical ways applying for companies that post that they're listing for one, um,
Mm.
but typically it's about selling that need to companies. You really want to start changing your perspective, and this is for everyone getting to this industry. You want to change your perspective on um, how you view yourself. You want to change that to more entrepreneurial, because at the end of the day, most of these roles are contractor roles, and when you're a contractor, you're pretty much selling a service, right? And whether it's sales, you're selling your sales service to businesses, and it's not okay, I'm just getting hired for a job as an employee at this company. It's like, no, you're a contractor that's selling them a sales service. Same thing as a growth operator, I'm selling them my service to optimize their sales process, and you would market and brand yourself accordingly as an entrepreneur that comes into businesses and helps them optimize whatever it is they optimize, whatever your specialty is, right? And there's a whole bunch of ways to market yourself for that, whether it's you know emails, content, ads, all that stuff, um, or just applying to roles where they're specifically looking for that type of role. So again, you want to kind of change how you're looking at getting into that position from just only applying to jobs. There's also selling it to a company, because if you're a growth operator, it's not only, hey, I'm going to wait for there to be a company that has a need, because every company
Oh,
could possibly have that service optimize their process. You know what I mean? Especially if they don't have someone in that role. So if I were you, I would
okay.
target companies, and I would say, okay, what kind of companies do I want to work for, and how, and what value would I be able to bring to that company? And then you would get in touch with the people that are responsible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's more of like the client acquisition side. So my question is more of like how do you get to becoming a growth operator, like
In
more
terms of
about the
developing the
growth track.
skill.
Yeah, like developing because there's also a coach who told me like if you're trying to learn every skill, every department, right? Because you have to be like being a growth operator means also like you have to be familiar in a way with the other departments of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike getting a sales job, you're just concerned, your main concern is only sales in general, handling objections, like booking appointments or closing deals. So in the entire sales cycle, uh or like he mentioned like don't try to learn everything there. Pick a niche, whether it's marketing, sales, or what. So how do you go about it from scratch? Like for example,
Yeah,
you only
building the skill
have
set. Well, take the
yeah,
skill, take the skill you do have, use that to get a job at a company in
yeah,
the niche you want to work in, and just network
okay,
with the other people there. You know what I mean? Like when you're working for a company, you can speak to the marketing team, You can speak to the team that's responsible for the emails, the team that's responsible for the sales, everything. Like, the best thing you could do is like, what skill do I have right now that will get me, even if it's like not the dream pay that you're looking for, but how can I work for a company for a year that pays me enough to take care of myself, and I can just spend that time just like secretly going around and learning. You'd be surprised if you ask a company, can I be a part of like the marketing team meetings? They'll be like, yeah, sure, I guess. Why not?
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, go talk to them, see what they do. One thing I did was when I worked with some, big companies, I had nothing to do with the department, but I still looked at like their marketing, like, and ads tracking sheets, and I was like, so I'm like, oh, this is what the cost per lead looks at a company that's doing 50 million a year. Okay, cool. This is the acquisition strategy. This is this is what this looks like. And you just see what companies at scale do and how they do it. And then you can go and replicate that in other businesses, So like, connect with other people. Because if you work there, you can connect with other people. You can learn from them. You can learn how the business operates. And now you're not just going off of your own experience. You're going off of you seeing how other companies do it at scale. And then you go and you help a smaller company do that, and you start to replicate those things,
Okay. So work for an established company and try to target small businesses later that doesn't have those processes, right?
Yeah. There's even like, even if you said like you're on Gemini and stuff, or on ChatGPT or whatever, look up like what are the best growth operating companies out there, and then go work for those companies in any department. It could be marketing, it could be sales, it could be whatever. But the company as a whole does that for other companies, and then learn how they do that for other companies. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And I'm looking to use my appointment setting skills to maybe do a high ticket setting offer, like coaching offer. And this is also my realization, like the high ticket space kind of volatile, where I know it's not always the case, but volatile in a sense where like there's like the marketing, the sales process volatility, wherein the income is very volatile for 6 months. And they're also like in most cases, like the setters, it's mostly the sales fault also not being good enough. But there's that volatility part, right? Like things that happen, but that's why like I'm eyeing or thinking like this role will only last for 6 months because of volatility. So what's your perspective on that? And if that's what you think also, like how do you deal with that? Like build
There's only
while building the
volatility
foundations.
if you chase companies whose sole focus is to sell, and not companies whose focus is to get good results. At the end of the day, the company, there's lots of roles that last a long time because they get good results. So I would focus on finding a company with great testimonials, great case studies, that serves their clients well, and that's where you won't see as much volatility. But if you're chasing the highest OTEs, the companies that are just have the best marketing, the most lead flow, then yeah, you're going to run into people that are chasing trends. But if you actually go after companies that are like, okay, they've got a genuinely good service, that helps people, you'll see that those companies have been around for years and years and years and years and years.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that, Ty. And I will give the floor to others and appreciate you for that.
No problem. And One Row, what's up, man?
Hey, brother. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I mean, I was actually seeing it on live on YouTube. I kind of skipped my mind because I was busy. So I was like, "Whoa, I should have been here." So it's all good. I mean, I enjoyed the talk in the Facebook. And one thing for Zanti, though, what I'd like to say, just to add a little, is that a growth operator, when you talk about growth operations, it has to really do with how the numbers operate within the various, units. Just like you have the marketing brings in the leads, and then you have the sales that convert the leads, and then you have the customer service, that also handles, and then you also have this customer success. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to think around those lines because the numbers, they revolve around things that happen around there. You get, so I just wanted to chime that in, that you need to focus on, and also you need to understand business in terms of the numbers like income statements and stuff like that, to help your revenue operations. So what you're calling revenue operations still go for, and what you're calling growth operations still goes for revenue operations. So I just wanted to just add that on the background. But the question that I have, sorry for the distraction. The question that I have, Kai, is I wanted to know, what are the, when you meet a client and then it's kind of like it's 100%, there's no base pay and stuff like that, that you have to source your leads and all that. I want to know what's the balance, like it's like you get a job and they are like, okay, it's going to be 100%, commission based. You need to do all the leads, you need to do that, so my question is like, what is the company kind of like giving? Are they not supposed to give like, ideas on what to do? Because I observe that, like the team I'm working with right now, they are the ones kind of like asking, they're asking more, kind of like, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? Instead of them to kind of like be giving, so it's like they want to get from the people. And, so what I've seen so far is like the motivation in the group so far has been very low. For me, it's a very big learning. I just want to get that balance, because this is kind of like my first experience, when you are working with a company like that. So I don't know if the question is clear, but that's what I just have to ask.
Yeah, you always want to have something on both ends, right? So personally, I wouldn't work with a company for neither, like if there wasn't leads being provided or a base, right? So like if I was doing cold calling, I would say there has to be some kind of like base of some kind. If I was calling inbound leads generated through marketing, obviously there's some interest. They're spending their money. They're pretty much spending your base money on generating leads for you. Then that, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So then
But
that's
this,
like,
but
okay,
this one,
cool.
they
I'll do
just
that
gave
commission
list.
only.
They just brought a bunch of lists, and at the end of the day, when I tried doing some
They're just cold leads
filtering,
that they bought,
cold
right?
leads and stuff like that, so
Yeah.
we should start reaching out to them. And then, I had this issue with email, kind of like everybody using the same email domain extension, which kind of like bumps
Yeah,
up
I would just negotiate. I would negotiate a base with a company like that.
Okay, okay. I mean,
That's what I would
makes
do.
sense.
Like I would negotiate,
Okay.
because again, like we've got to come together. The company should provide a CRM. The company should, like,
Yeah.
if they're building a list through cold, like if they're building a list like Zoom Info, Apollo IO, building the list for you, maybe they pay per appointment set instead of per close. Like that could be good. If you're totally sourcing the leads yourself, or if you said they're buying listed leads for you that you're going together. Again, I would still want to see like a base of some kind from them, just so that again you're both providing something. But you don't want to let a company just be like, hey, you do commission only, cold outreach, because at that point, what's the you might as well just sell your own product or service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I
So
feel they are not putting their skin in the game, So
yeah,
although they've tried,
it needs
they
to be a
brought up script.
partnership. So, and don't be afraid to negotiate it. You'd be surprised how many companies like, I mean, Adrian, who was on the call last week, he does it all the time. Like, I think he just negotiated like a 2K a month base from a company that was, not really, that was having him do a colder outreach. And I think he's calling leads that they have too,
Oh, wow.
So it's like you can negotiate a base if you speak up. Remember, it's not just you accepting a job. This is, you're a contractor, and that's why I said change your view of yourself to more of like an entrepreneur, because you're selling a sales
Yeah.
service and you're coming to an agreement with a company on the scope of work, and if they're not providing anything that's worth your time, then don't do it.
Man, thanks so much. Because I think because the vibe I'm just getting is, you're recruiting lots of people, and then you're giving them 90 days,
Yeah, they're just to
to
see
get
what
something out.
sticks. Like they're just throwing stuff in to see
So
what sticks, right? And it's like,
you get exactly.
yeah,
I think that's it. So thanks so much, man. I think that's right. That's what's wrong.
no
Thanks.
problem. Last question we'll answer. Michelle, you had one?
Yeah, so sorry. I have two little questions. One is, when would you give up on an offer, meaning that, I don't know, you being setting appointments, they're not closing. Where would you say, okay, now it's been XYZ time, I should move on?
It's super dependent on the company and the conversations that you have with them, and then on what you need, you know? So like that's why, like, for example, if I have that 90-day runway and things look promising and I see the growth, like, it's not really there's no blanket answer to that. Just go based off of, just remember to take care of yourself and what you need, you know? Don't just go off of promises, go off of what you see actually happening. If the company has
Yeah.
a clear plan in place, then, and you see things being executed, cool. If you don't see things being executed, then, you know, move on. It's totally okay to go through, like, you know, maybe let's say I was onboarding with this company while applying to another because things might not work out here. That's okay too, with the way, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
hard. It's a hard question to answer because it's so dependent on so many different factors. Maybe everything's good, but just with your runway, you just don't have the time to wait a little bit. So maybe you jump ship a little bit sooner than someone else would. You know, there's also people getting into this who, you know, maybe like live with their parents or something like that. That can, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's really just dependent. Just make sure that you're looking after yourself. Don't be afraid to, never be afraid to negotiate. If things are looking at a place, ask questions, speak about it. If you're like, hey, there's not enough leads here, go and talk to them. Hey, what's the plan to increase the lead flow here? You know what I mean? If you know, just don't
Yeah.
sit, wait, and be like, oh, I'm sure they'll figure it out. You know, just
Yeah.
because it's like your first offer or something like that, that doesn't mean that you should accept, like, what
Yeah.
I was saying pretty much. It doesn't mean you should accept someone being like, okay, no base, cold leads, all these things. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. I've been through that already. They were like saying, "Oh, we're gonna achieve XYZ," and they didn't. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of waste of times for us too, right? Where we could be in
I say
another
get
office.
dates. What I like to do, what I like to do is get dates. So like when people say, "Oh, we're gonna do this," I'll be like, "Cool. What date is that gonna be done by?"
Yeah.
July 5th. When July 5th comes around, I'm out. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
if it's not done. So don't
Yeah.
just leave things up in the air. Get specifics, get dates, get timelines, get numbers, and make data-driven decisions, not decisions based on just like it's coming.
Yeah, like hopes and
working.
promises kind of thing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
best thing to do is get dates and stuff, you know?
And my very last question is the new feature on RepSelect that applies the jobs for you,
Yeah.
something like that I've seen on LinkedIn. How does that work? How can I set it up?
Yeah. Well, I answered it before. I guess you didn't hear.
Oh, yes, I
So
wasn't here. Sorry.
oh, you went away for a second. Yeah, so pretty much it's just auto apply based off of your career preference in terms of niche and role. So if you're like, if you have your niche set to all the niches you selected and the roles that you're willing to work, if you have auto apply switched on, which is just in your profile section on web, it probably hasn't deployed to App Store yet just because Apple takes some time before they approve our new changes. So if you go to
Yeah.
like the website, you should see it there on your profile. Just turn auto apply on and it'll submit your profile to the jobs that don't require you to fill out forms. You know, some jobs take you to an external site to apply. It won't
Yes.
obviously apply to those for you because you have to go to the external site and fill out whatever other questions they have. But the ones where you just click apply and it submits your profile, it will auto apply based off of the niche and role that you're looking to apply to.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much.
Yeah, you just, like Cola said, toggle on and off on your profile.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Awesome. Well, hopefully this was helpful. We have these every single Monday, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.
All right, thank you.